Hello, YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify. We're back again. We're here with Roger from Potter's Paranormal Project. Is it Potter's? Potter.
It's Potter. My last name is Potter.
So that's where it came from. So whereabouts are you from, Roger?
Well, I am from Detroit, Michigan.
Right.
So I am on the other side of the pond from you.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I've got family in America, but I've got no idea about where areas are, cities, and whatever. I thought it's Detroit, not New York. That's nowhere
No,
near that. No, okay, so
you,
told you.
it's not far from New York. It's maybe a four hour drive to upstate New York.
That's that's
Um,
crazy. I mean, you say not far. We can get to the other side of the country in 4 hours.
yeah.
No problem.
So I live in the Mitten State, the one that looks like a mitten, the one surrounded by the Great Lakes.
Ah, right. And you said that was Michigan.
Yep, Michigan.
So everyone knows Lake Michigan. We've all heard of that
Yep,
one.
yep.
Okay, so it's been a long time coming. You had a few issues yourself lately, haven't you? Like health wise and family and stuff as well. I've had to cancel a few times. We've been trying to get this podcast going since what, January or something.
Yeah,
You
yeah. I
you were
believe it
one of
was
the first
January.
people. You were one of the first people I ever really spoke to when I started the page in November. So yeah, it's been a long time coming. So we'll just get cracking. We'll see where it goes. There's no set plan. I wrote a few questions down as normal, and we'll see where it goes. So before we do get into more of the paranormal side of everything, can you tell us where did Potter Paranormal Project come from, and how did you end up going down the paranormal rabbit hole, so to
Yeah,
speak?
yeah. I always loved telling this story because it started before Potter Paranormal Project. It actually started with Southwest Detroit Paranormal, and that is a group that was founded by me, my dad, and my mom. Actually, um, my dad was always really big into the paranormal, and so my sister and myself got really big into the paranormal, just kind of following in his footsteps. And my mom come across this ghost hunt they were doing at historic Fort Wayne in Detroit, Michigan, which is one of the oldest forts in the country. It was used to ward off French attackers from Canada, back in the
Uh,
war.
that name
Uh,
that name really rings a bell. Have there been films about that or something? Fort Wayne really rings a bell to
yeah,
me.
yeah. So it's a pretty historic place, and ghost hunters, when they were really big when they first came out, was doing tours there, and my mom caught wind of it. She asked my dad if he wanted to go, and he said absolutely, but he didn't really have anybody to go with him. So I didn't have anything going on. I said, all right, well let's go get it.
Yeah,
Mom bought the tickets. Me and Dad did Fort Wayne with a recorder, and that's it. And we've been hooked since. Southwest Detroit Paranormal was started. We brought in my sister, my brother-in-law, my wife, all the kids. It's a big family event now, and it was set up that way to do all the pay-to-play stuff, like all the big ones, that everybody does. And then because I enjoyed doing it so much, I started venturing more off into the residential to help people who were struggling with some things that they weren't able to see, and kind of doing it more on a regular basis, on the weekends, just
yeah,
doing more. And, my family's big, everybody's got jobs, everybody's got lives, and they just couldn't drop everything they were doing to stop and do something every weekend. So I just got a buddy of mine that I grew up with from middle school on. My sister-in-law, who's usually pretty available, and I just said, hey, I want to do this more full time. Would you guys want to start doing some investigations with me? And they were like, yeah, sure. So Potter Paranormal Project was founded as more of a residential project to help people who are struggling with some things that they can't see. However, it blew up into a lot more through social media. Just I never expected it to be this, but I'm enjoying it.
yeah. No, that's good. Good. I was going to ask you about that because I watched the podcast you did with Tiffany Beyond Logic.
Oh yeah, I love Tiffany. She's awesome. She's
Yeah,
she's one of my favorite people that I've met through this.
No, definitely. She's another one. You and Tiffany that I first started talking to when I first started, and again, she's one where one thing after another has caused the podcast to be delayed. So I've still not been able to speak to her.
Yeah.
I was a guest on her show when I very first started in December. But other than that, so many things that go in the way of doing these podcasts, like just general life.
Yeah, we've investigated a couple times together. I investigated with her in New York, and then she came down and investigated with me in Ohio. So
Yeah.
we definitely plan on investigating more together. It's really cool. She's become kind of just part of the paranormal family. Her and my wife have become friends. It's cool when you can just build these relationships and just have people around to say, hey, let's go do some spooky stuff.
Yeah. No, it's good to have that sense of community as well, like your friends around you. I mean, I've not even wrote this next thing down that I don't want to say, but everyone talks about it. I hate talking about it because it winds me up. But para unity, I'd say, do you believe in it? Do you think it's a thing? But a few months ago, you had a lot of trouble with someone being a bit of an arse, let's say, bit of a
Yeah.
dickhead, calling you out online about random shit, really. And I think you dealt with that quite well, but that sort of stuff alone makes you think, is para unity even there? Like, why is it things being brought up? So, what's your thoughts on it? And can you touch up a little bit on that subject? Because a lot of people, it was kind of there, and then it went. Like, there's nothing. Did you sort stuff out between yourselves, or the bit of
Yeah.
beef that you
So
had?
I just essentially with what happened there, I essentially said what I had to say regarding the subject. Yeah, there was some issues there. I felt a little bit slighted by some things that was said. I may have taken it out of context. I had spoke to the person individually, and we had talked some things out, but some other people took things out of context, kind of drew my name, was dragging my name. However, when you're doing this and you get into the social media business, there's always going to be somebody who has something negative to say about you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I essentially just wrote it off and said, hey, say what you're going to say. People are going to judge me on my character and my content, on their own right. So if people really want to, watch my content and see for themselves what's going on, then they'll see the truth behind all of it. I did lose some pretty good friends behind it. I lost some people I was supposed to investigate with. They dropped out last minute.
And
Stuff like that.
do you think they're sorry about cutting you off? If I don't, I'll forget. But do you think they did that more of protect their own sort of page sort of thing, or do you think it was more personal towards you?
It was more of that. Uh, they were friends on both fronts, and they didn't want to offend others, so they dropped out on me. But it's fine. It's fine. It is what it is. I'm okay with it. In the time that's happened, my page has gained more followers. It's the nature of business. People are going to love you. People are going to hate you.
Stupid
And
stuff, though, isn't it? It's just online banter's like being the playground at school.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just stupid. You
yeah.
don't fall out with people.
I agree, and it's just one of those things where, para unity is what you make it. I mean, if you build a great network of people and you build a unity of people around the country and around the world, then you have your own para unity network. It's if you don't want to be a part of it, then you can say para unity doesn't exist. I mean, it's whatever you make it to be. I have probably a good, I would say 50 to 60 loyal people that I talk to on a regular basis on my page. And if that's not unity, I mean, I don't know what else is. I can basically go anywhere in the country and meet up and do an investigation because of who I've met
You've
through
linked with, yeah.
this network. So I mean, it's just one of those things. It's take it for what it is. Yeah, there can be para unity if you want it to be, but not everybody's going to feel that way. Not everybody's going to want to be involved, and that's fine.
And I think that the more you grow as well, the worse things become. It's like on this page now, Books Paranormal Podcast, I've got about 900 followers or whatever. But my other page, Friday Night Investigators of the Paranormal, got like over 12,000 followers. That page we used to go live 3 times a week doing private home investigations, investigations in abandoned buildings, paid locations across England. And I mean, like I said, I've got no trouble now with anyone, but I guarantee if I was doing what I'm doing now on that other page with 12,000 people, I'd have a lot of trouble.
Oh yeah.
During the investigation times, we had people sending letters to our homes, threatening family members of the team, turning up, wrecking cars like during the investigations. And that's
Jesus.
kind of why it all fell apart. Over here, it's quite it's more of like I imagine over there that the trouble between teams is more physical and more verbal. Sorry, and over the internet.
Mhm.
Over here, because the country's so small,
You're right.
they may go see where you are. 2 hours down the line, they're there, like, and wrecking your car while you're inside. Yeah, and there's so many abandoned. We obviously go in America again. Abandoned buildings. There's no such thing really. So it's a crime if you go into a building, someone else's
Right.
property, you get arrested. Over here, it's civil trespass. So
Right.
even a house that someone's physically living in, if their window's open and you crawl through, you can't get arrested. They'll probably take your details or take you to the station, but you'll be out again. As long as you've not
Right.
broken entry, you've not stolen, and you can prove that. It's stupid, man. Yeah, people have got no rights to protect the property here. It's crazy.
That is
Um,
absolutely insane. And the I follow, and I'll keep most of it out of this conversation, but I do follow world politics a lot, so I definitely see the freedoms and things that you guys are being stripped of, and
yeah.
it's terrible.
Again, it's like who's got it better, who's got it worse? Because you know,
It's bad
okay,
all
I
around.
don't want to get into politics, but at the beginning, it's like if your first man like wasn't there, the second man's not much better.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
same, yeah.
I'm with you, man. It's bad all around, I think.
But no, I was always I wouldn't say a fan of him, but I didn't. I thought he was a better choice out of a bad bunch at the time. But when he started slagging off our army and our country, man, I think a lot of
Yeah,
people over here fell out of him. But
yeah.
anyway, I told you I move on so fast. I forget what I'm saying. I'll go from one conversation to another. So you'll have to just
Hey,
tell me to shut up, man.
hey, listen, man. Conversations move fast in a Thunderdome.
Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So, was there a moment from where you went like, "This is interesting," to okay, this is real? What's that trigger moment that made you, I suppose, really start believing in the paranormal? From going from being a hobby to you being an investigator, let's say.
So, I grew up in a very old house. One of the original houses that was on Detroit farmland before it was an actual big city. Early or late 1800s, early 1900s, old brick house, and that house had so much activity in it growing up. I was actually terrified for the majority of my childhood. I would see Shadow Man look in my room every night, peek his head in my door. I would hear things all the time, and it wasn't just me. My sister would hear things a lot. So there was definitely some weird stuff. And then as I got older, I started seeing things more vividly. Like I was able to make things out. It was no longer just a shadow figure. I've seen twice somebody in blue jeans, white t-shirt, like dirty blonde, curly hair, walk out the front door one time, out the back door one time. The second time my daughter seen it. So I've seen so many
But
things.
where you are now? Well,
Um,
this house.
in my parents' house.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, my parents still live there. I still go visit them all the time. But yeah, I seen a lot of things in my parents' house in that old house in Detroit. So the second time that I seen that figure walk out the back door, my daughter seen it. It was wild. But the big thing for me is I'm still quite skeptical because there's no concrete evidence. I can't just pull up a video and say, look, this is what I saw. And until I can show that, it's all speculation.
And that's it, isn't it? Like, it's like people say, oh, yeah, how do you believe in all this nonsense and stuff? I'm like, well, we kind of, we do, but there's no proof to it. That's why we're all doing it. I don't think
Right.
no one will ever have solid proof. It's one of those, like, if let's say a ghost just came right in front of you now, sat down, staring you straight in the face, you know that's 100% real. No one's ever going to truly believe you. They've not
100%. You're
seen
right.
it. And even if there's 10 people in that room that saw it and they know it's 100% real, no one's ever truly going to believe them. You can never prove it. I
Right.
don't think. I think you can come close with the EVPs. There's some things that you can't deny that have been caught on camera, been caught on the voice and all that. But I think unless a spirit goes on stage on TV nationally and say, "Look, I'm a ghost, I'm here," you're never
I
going
agree
to
with you
have proof.
there. I'm the same way. And like I tell people, until I have evidence where I'm sitting there, I got my arm around a ghost and I say, hey, look, this is a ghost. Look, we're chilling. It's all speculation at that point. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
we try to prove things and there are things that are unexplainable and we don't know what they are. Are they ghosts? Possibly. Is it something else? It could be. Could it just be, existential energy left over that we can't see? There's a lot of different things that it could be. So,
yeah,
paranormal doesn't mean ghost. It just means that it's not normal.
unexplainable. Yeah,
And, I tell people I've been doing this for over 20 years and I have maybe 3 or 4 really good pieces of evidence. And they're like, well, that's crazy. Because not everything's paranormal. Just because the REM pod goes off doesn't mean something paranormal is happening. There's electromagnetic fields that flow throughout the atmosphere all over the time. So for me, the biggest things are like I need it on video and audio. I don't really trust the electronics. Yeah, they're fun to play with, and if you can get corresponding stuff, it's pretty cool.
I was going to say I'm not a fan of that myself, but there's so many you can download for free and whatever. But I think it's
Yeah.
so interesting if you've got 2 or 3 on at the same time, and out of all them thousands of words, the same word comes out. That's happened to me probably once, I'd say, once answering a
Yeah.
question, and like stuff like that. It does make you think.
Yeah.
That
And that's like
millions of words that could have come through there.
I have a piece of evidence from Eloise Insane Asylum here in Michigan. It's one of the places that I really wanted to get to for a very long time. I snuck onto the property and stuff when I was younger, and got kicked out of the property and shit. Like that's how bad I wanted to get into this place. And when they finally opened it up for investigations, I got in there and I took both my teams, both Southwest Detroit Paranormal and Potter Paranormal Project. And while we were in there, we had a base camp set up on 2nd floor. I had a team of like 4 on the 3rd floor, a team of 4 on the 4th floor, and a team of 3 on the 5th floor, which was me, my daughter, and my buddy Jerry. And my buddy Jerry asked, hey, is there anybody here with us? If there is, do you want to say anything? And then we heard a blood-curdling scream. I mean, it was loud. Everybody heard it on 2, or I'm sorry, everybody heard it on 3. Everybody heard it on 4. Nobody heard it on 2. And the security downstairs on 1 didn't hear it. I ran all my audio and video from floor 2. It was never picked up, but you can hear on the radio me call down asking if everybody's okay. It came through clear as day on my body cam on the 5th floor. I have that evidence recorded, and that's probably one of the best pieces of evidence that I have that I can't explain. And that's just because I can't explain it. Most things I can debunk. That one I can't.
No. I'm just trying to think myself. Like, could there be any other way to explain it? But it's one of those that someone out there will always come up with a way to explain it.
Yeah.
Even though it might not be real, it might not be,
Yeah, I had
You know yourself. You know yourself that it was real. That's all that matters, really.
I had security walk the building, check, make sure nobody got in the building, make sure there was nobody on the outside perimeter that could have made that, noise. I had everything double checked. Like I said, I double checked all my footage from all my still cameras and everything from floor 2. It did not pick it up. So whatever it was, it had to be between threes, floors 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
And I just can't explain it. So for me, that's paranormal. I have the evidence of it. I can't explain it. I've
Have you
tried to
ever done
debunk
any
it.
research on the place to see if anything happened, like on those floors
Oh,
itself?
I know so much about that place.
Yeah.
Eloise is that's like my haven. That was one of the biggest tuberculosis and insane asylums in the country. They did electrocution therapy. They did the bariatric therapy, the water therapy. A little girl was forgotten in the bathtub there and drowned doing bariatric therapy, or the water therapy. So there's over 2,000 unmarked graves across the street from the property that they actually was going to turn into an airport. And when Wayne County started digging into it, they started finding graves. So they had to cancel the project. There's no next kin. There's nobody they can contact. So they had to stop exhuming, and they basically just fenced it off and made it Wayne County property that nobody can touch.
It's mad what used to happen is it's the same. There's a few asylums over here that, well, old asylums are just now derelict. But as the years have gone on, people have found so many unmarked graves that have been, around the buildings itself, like babies and thousands, like. So all the shit that used to happen, you can see why those sort of buildings in particular have a lot of energy when doing investigations.
Yeah.
Um,
But that's one of the places that I can honestly say I have some of the best evidence from. It's available on my YouTube and on the Facebook and all that fun stuff. But
is that all the same name on YouTube?
yeah,
What Paranormal Production?
yeah. Essentially, my YouTube is just the episodes that I've produced, so it's not a whole lot on there right now. I think it's like 8 or 9 videos or something like that, because I just basically put all the episodes on there. And they're just shorts. I mean, usually 5 to 7 minutes long or so. Because the human attention span doesn't last that long.
Well, when this drops, right now, obviously Saturday today, this will be dropping tomorrow, Sunday.
Right.
Put all your links out in the comments here, like your YouTube and Facebook, whatever. You do a lot of merch as well, don't you? There's a lot of merch. You sell merch as well.
Yeah. And that's actually attached to my Facebook profile. If you go into my profile in Potter Paranormal Project, there's a link there. It's for Printify, and I have over 100 items over on that shop. Actually, if you see,
what's it say at the top? Don't touch my no. I'm reading it backwards, so it's hard to.
Yeah, I know. It says, "Don't touch my no square."
All right.
There's a little bit of an inside joke on that one. I was on a podcast with Patriot Paranormal. We were co-hosting a podcast, and we brought on Myra from the Aurora Brothel down in Missouri, and she has some very promiscuous ghosts down there. Because
hang on. So she's like a venue owner.
Yes, she's a venue owner.
So she's not just Myra from the brothel.
Right. Yep. She's the venue. Yep. She owns the. Yeah. No, she owns the Aurora Brothel. So she allows investigations and things, and we had her on for a podcast, and she was telling us about the promiscuous ghosts, and then Laura from Patriot Paranormal made a joke about the promiscuous ghosts and said, "Don't touch my no square." And then Myra immediately rebutted with, "Depending on who you are, I might say okay." So it became this big standing joke. So I actually made a Myra merch line on my store, and that's where this one comes from. Don't touch my no square.
I love it. I think each item you've got is all individually. It's got its own sense of humour, isn't it? Like each one's.
Yeah,
I find it hilarious. To be fair, some of the stuff
yeah.
there.
Everybody knows that I'm as genuine as I can possibly be. I'm a dark humor kind of guy. I'm just here to have fun, enjoy myself. I do this paranormal stuff for me. I do the social media stuff for me. I'm just happy that I got a bunch of people along for the ride who enjoy it. But I'm just genuinely me. I make
So
mistakes. I do stupid things, but
yeah,
I I'm
same with me. I think that's why I started like talking to you more so than most people, like in the paranormal field, because you're a bit like the American me. Like you just kind of don't give a fuck, and you're doing it because you enjoy it. It's a hobby, something to do. Some people take the piss about it, but they just don't understand. They got their hobbies, we got our hobbies,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
yeah, at least we're doing something which potentially down the line could make a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I look at it like this. I'm doing something with my time. I'm getting out. I'm exploring. I'm exploring historical venues. Not only am I getting to spend time there and investigate these places, but I'm getting to, you know, take in the history. And I'm kind of an architecture guy, so I really like architecture. And you get to spend time in these buildings that just aren't made the same way anymore today. So um, it's not hurting nobody. I'm out doing something that I feel is productive, and you know what? I enjoy it.
yeah.
So
So I love the history side to it as well. But I was talking to obviously a lot of the people that I speak to um, are American. 'Cause that's a
yeah,
lot of American people online for some reason. Like it's more the paranormal side over there.
we're quite a
Um,
large country. There's a lot of us.
yeah, well, it does make me laugh a lot when you guys talk a lot about like history, like 200 years is like mega old to you guys, and I've got like a 1,000-year-old pub just down the road still in operation.
I
It's,
know.
like you guys have like beautiful, massive buildings. And I think we have like small, really old castles and all sorts. But
Yeah.
that brings me on to the question I was going to ask. Do you think there's a difference between hauntings in the UK versus the US because of its history and the timeline back then? And
I think, yeah. I mean, I think it corresponds with its own location and history and geographical, history. Because me and you, although we're the same, we're different. We have different cultures. We have different things that we do. We have different hobbies. Although essentially, we're just people. Um, Ghosts, or paranormal, events or hauntings or whatever they may be, I believe are just is essentially existential energy from the living. So you would be the same in death as you are in life.
Mhm.
So I mean, if the history is there with the castles and the battles and the things and the death of that nature that have gone on there, that energy is going to recreate itself. So it's going to be historical in that sense. Where as American history, like you might see somewhere, like we'll say, just the Civil War battlegrounds for context. If I
Yeah,
go spend time there, I'm most likely going to get some type of Civil War paranormal, activity. So
I
I believe it corresponds to the history of the location and geography.
I think for me, when I think of like American paranormal hauntings, etc., it always rings. You think of films because, like like Amityville Horror,
Yeah,
that sort of stuff. Because America is massive, and it's like you make all the top films, the horror movies, and whatever. Whereas over here, when you think of paranormal, I think a lot of people would think of like in the castles. Like every castle has got a grey lady or a lady in
yeah,
white. And I was talking to someone the other week about it, and I said, "Why is it always a grey lady? Why is it always a lady in white that people find?" And the lady that I spoke to made a good point. She was like, "Well, back then there was no colour. Colour was in Europe. Everything was
yeah,
black and white." And I thought, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So every spirit that you see in the castle, say they might always spot a grey lady. It would have been because that was the only colour of clothing they had at the time.
right. And it would be more of a period haunting, or
Yeah,
historical time frame. So yeah, I mean, it would definitely make sense. And Yeah, I get why you would see why American hauntings are. Yeah, I've been doing this for over 20
I mean,
years. The stuff
I
that
love it. Don't get me wrong.
yeah,
I'm not slating it. I love it. I find it really
it's
interesting.
but I've been doing this for over 20 years, and the stuff that you've seen in movies, I've never had happen.
Yeah.
It's all for Hollywood effect and things of that nature. I think when people and I think honestly, I think media and social media and paranormal entertainers, we'll call them, have kind of watered down our field and uh, made people think that it's so much different than it really is.
Yeah. No, definitely. Um, so you mentioned that you said you've got about 3 or 4 pieces of evidence over the last 20 years that you'd say would make you question yourself, like you've got no explanation for that. You mentioned about the person in your parents' home, the blue jeans, white top that you see walking out the front and out the back. Is that the most like best piece of evidence you'd say that, or not necessarily evidence, but your best experience?
That's
Like
the
with
clearest, most
yeah,
cleanest experience I've ever had. Those two experiences, because I can still vividly see exactly what they were wearing. I mean, it was wild. And like I said, the second time my daughter seen it too, and I just looked at her and I was like, "You seen that, right?" And she was like, "Yeah," So,
did your
um,
daughter know about this before? Like, could it have been in her head? Do you know what I mean? Like already implanted?
not until after.
No. Okay.
No. And the funny thing about it is after I told my mom the first time I seen it, um, my mom grew up in that house. She's been in that house since she was a kid. She seen it when she was younger herself. She seen him standing in the hallway by the front door where I seen him walk out, standing next to her brother's motorcycle at the time when she was younger.
Same question again. Did you know about this before your mum? Like, did she tell you these stories? No.
Nope.
So none of you have had it being implanted in you, really.
Nope. I had no idea.
Okay.
I thought it was her. I thought she went outside, and I actually said, "Hey, mom, where are you going?" And she was behind me. She was like, "What are you talking about?" And at that point, I was like, all right, that was weird. I went outside, there was nobody out there, and I told her, and she was like, well, so since you've seen that, let me tell you a little bit of experiences I had in this house. So yep, same description and everything. White t-shirt, blue jeans, dirty blonde curly type hair.
Do you know who had the house before yourself, before your family?
I don't, because my grandparents owned that house, and then sold it to my parents. So we've they've had that house for generations.
Hmm. So it could have been even something that your grandparents were witnessing as well,
Yeah.
which more than likely probably was if the 3 of you guys have seen it yourselves.
Yeah. I never got a chance to ask them though before they passed. I would have definitely liked to have that conversation with my grandma because
Yeah.
she definitely would have been able to tell us some stories.
Again, though, I think the older generation, the grandparents and stuff, they probably dismiss it. They wouldn't have thought about it like us when they. Or was your grandparents like into that sort of stuff? I know from our side, a lot of the older people, if it was right in front of their face, they'd dismiss it. Do you know what I mean? Um,
I don't think my grandma was necessarily into it. However, my grandma was very persistent on um, we aren't necessarily the only things, like the angels, Jesus, things like that, the afterlife. So it was more of a spiritual thing for her. So it wasn't necessarily like a ghost or paranormal thing. It was more of a spiritual reckoning for her.
yeah, definitely. Okay, well, pretty much gone through what I've wrote down. Really, I mean, you got any more investigations coming up? Do you do like are you making any more videos like for YouTube, or is that
Uh,
something springing back again?
I'm actually working on the video content from when we just did Mortuary Manor down in Ohio in February. So I'm still working on that content, still doing review. like I said, like I tell a lot of people, I'm really the only one that primarily reviews all the content. So if I have stationary cameras and stationary, you know, recording devices and things like that, for if I do an 8 hour investigation, I'm the only one reviewing it. So 8 hours per each piece of per evidence. That's a lot of time to sink in.
Yeah.
So I'm still reviewing that. That's going on. I do have. I'm actually going to Paracon, Penhurst Paracon in May here in Pennsylvania. Um, that's about a 9 hour drive from where I currently live. So, Penhurst is one of the biggest notorious haunted places in the country, and they're actually getting ready to destroy it to build data centers. So there's a
All
big debate about this place. This may very well be the last time that they hold this Paracon at Penhurst. And actually, uh, a good buddy of mine, Webster Eugene, he is the founder of Just Creeping It Real, and uh, he's actually sponsored my ticket down there. So he sponsored me to come down there. I'm gonna head down there, and we're gonna spend Paracon just investigating a little bit of Penhurst and hanging out with some vendors and stuff.
cool. I mean, we're talking about energy and different spirits being energy itself. So that building that you mentioned there, they're knocking it down. All that energy there, all the spirits that may be inside that building, when they knock it down and rebuild something else, do you believe that that energy and them spirits will still be there, or will they be gone with the building?
Some of them, I believe, will still be there. It
Yeah.
depends on the reason why they're still there. I mean, that's just one of those things. I believe that everything has a reasoning. Depends on the reasoning why they're still there. I mean, they may have been trapped, and once the building is removed, it may free them from their entrapment. However, if it's something that's just more of I would say, a routine haunt, or something that goes on.
Residual sort of thing, yeah.
Yeah, like a residual type of haunt, then the energy is still going to exist there, whether you put a new location there or not, because it's tied to the energy of the location itself.
No, I agree. I think people think the buildings, the haunted places. I think it's the land. I
Yeah,
mean, you know, people go investigating cemeteries, graveyards. But look how old the world is, man. Everywhere you step must be a grave.
yeah, I
It
agree.
must
I
be.
believe
Like,
there's hauntings all around us all the time. It's just a matter of
yeah.
what's actually reaching out to us and what has the energy to manifest. It's literally everything in the world is energy, and even when we die, our energy has to go somewhere. So
I've
you
caught my
know,
best evidence over the years of investigating in abandoned buildings.
mhm,
I've caught nothing in like £1,000 hired location, which is like supposed to be the most haunted place in the world.
yeah,
Caught nothing. Or a random abandoned building, I've caught loads, and that's
yeah,
again what you say, the energy. I think that's why we used to do a lot of private home investigations as well. Um, Again, like you say, the energy's just there, which is why I think a lot of it comes from the land,
yeah.
more so than the buildings itself.
Like I said, one of the coolest experiences I had is of a place that was never investigated before me. It's a little place in Northville, Michigan. It's called the Hair Foundation. It's
Oh,
literally just a small little hair salon, and it's one of the original buildings that was built in downtown Northville when they were building it up into a city. So it was used as like a brothel and a holding cell, drunk tank, things like that. So it has a lot of history and a lot of energy in the building, even though it's not really well known for anything. And the owner, I happen to be friends with the owner, and she was telling me about some experiences she had there, and she asked me to come in and take a look. And I'll tell you what, I heard some of the loudest footprints I've ever heard in that place, to the point where it shocked me. And I just looked at her, and I actually called upstairs, and I'm like, hey, is somebody in the building? Did somebody come into the bathroom, or like, what's going on? Why are people in the building when we're investigating? And everybody swears there was nobody in there. I had cameras set up. I have no visuals of anybody, nothing. It's wild. some of these
And so
places that you just don't expect will produce the best
the best things,
results.
yeah. And I'll prefer. I mean, a lot of venues because of the prices, you have to bring a group of people, don't you? You have to share the costs. I'm one of these people. I'll prefer it just being either myself or two or three people. But I understand you've got to do what you got to do because people just they're venue owners. A lot of them, I mean, obviously just for the money now. It's ruined it for the smaller people, the smaller
Yeah.
investigators, really.
Well, I'll tell you, there's a couple venue owners that still hold pretty true for doing it for
I'll tell you.
good reasons.
I'll tell you one quickly as well, which I think you've spoken to. Spirits of Marco.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
one I was going to bring up. Spirits of
I was
Marco,
so
and
she's been on the podcast, and I was so shocked at how cheap she does it. You know what I mean?
yes,
Really shocked.
I can't wait to get down there. I actually, we were supposed to go down there in October, but I think that one's going to fall through. Just due to I was supposed to go down there with Leo Paranormal, but looks like he just announced on his page the other day that he's giving up Paranormal. So,
Oh.
I'm still trying to get to the bottom of all that and figure out what's going on, but it looks like that one's not going to happen. So I'm going to reschedule and maybe go down there a little earlier with my group and take a couple of my Southwest Detroit Paranormal people down there. Small little six to 8 person group or something like that.
Check out the podcast, Roger. I think you'd enjoy it. She's told them some good stories. Like, she's not giving away nothing about the spiritual, the hauntings or anything like
Right.
that. But she talks about like the area itself and her experience with some of the neighbours and stuff. I think
She was talking about the neighbor who
the crazy
actually
guy.
talks about the guy who says openly, like, "Yeah, I killed the girl there."
Yeah, in prison and everything.
Yeah, I was like, "Do you think we can get him on the property? Because I think that'd be cool. Like, get him on the property when I'm down there. I think that would be fantastic."
Some of the stuff she was telling me shocked me. Like I was just drawn into what she was saying.
Yeah, I'm really, really itching to get down there. I actually, after I found out that Leo is stepping away from the paranormal, I actually reached out to my family immediately and was like, "Hey, do you guys want to get down to Indiana here, like ASAP?" So we're working on getting that together. And Myra from the Aurora Brothel, I think she only charges like $200 for the night too. And we're actually heading there in August. I'll be down there August 15th to investigate the Aurora Brothel with Patriot Paranormal. So it'll be, it'll be a mixed group of Potter Paranormal and Southwest Detroit Paranormal. I'm bringing a couple of each. And then we're going to actually have Patriot Paranormal, since they've been there a few times, on hand, kind of show us the ropes a little bit there. And
you've got to do these places because, if they blow up, I know that these people, like Spirits of Marco, say they probably won't put the costs up, but as a venue owner, you'd be stupid not to, wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Someone's willing to pay $2,000 for the night. You're going to do it, even if you charge $100 there.
Listen, if you want to be like the Arizona iced tea guy and keep your prices at 99 cents, I'll give you a hug every time I see you.
Yep.
But I don't understand it. It's bad business.
I was saying to her, I said, it winds me up how, like, they charge through the roof some of these places. But I even said, if I was in their shoes and I could, and people were paying it, I'm kind of gonna, you know what I mean?
That's honestly why I'll probably never get a chance to do Eloise again.
Yeah,
they changed
people like me.
They changed the pricing, man. It's like $2,000 for like 6 hours or something like that. It's insane,
man.
I just
a lot of the big places over here are like £1,000 plus now as well.
Yeah, that's insane, man. And you know what? And it's because the field has been so saturated. Everybody's gotten this big push with all the paranormal stuff that was produced in the mid 2000s. Everybody got excited about it, wanted to go out and investigate. So everybody's kind of some of these venue owners are just making a buck off of it. And what bothers me a lot of it is and I haven't experienced this personally because I do a lot of research before I go into my venues, but finding out that a lot of these places are fabricating stories just to make a buck and they're not actually paranormal, which is that's a slap in the face to the people who are actually in this field and doing the work to find answers and not just produce content.
It's quite a well-known place over here, which a lot of films have been made about it. 30 East Drive. Don't know if you heard of it.
Yep.
I think was it The Conjuring or something did like a part somewhat similar towards it, didn't they? But they charge an absolute fortune. I'd love to go there just to say I've been there, even though
Yeah.
there's mixed reviews. Some people say there's no activity, other people say it's great. But then you hear stories about how the neighbours next door are linked to it, and they make
Oh,
noises in the loft and like say fabricated, and you just don't. The popular place like that, you don't know what to believe.
yeah. No, I've been to
Really.
places where I found like random speakers and stuff, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense to be here, you know.
Yeah,
Um, so there's and I'll be honest, people either love or hate to investigate with me because I am a debunker. I'm gonna look for every logical reason on why it happened and why it's going on before I say it's something that I can't explain. Like I said, and that's why I have maybe 3 or 4 really good pieces of evidence that I can't explain
yeah.
because I'm always going to find a logical reason on why it happened.
I'm the same. I did. I look for all the logical reasons first. The only thing I don't like, which a lot of people do, especially like skeptics and people that do debunk a lot, I don't like it being done mid-investigation. I think that dismisses, like you can get all excited, like Jesus, that moved there, and
Right.
we can all say, oh, the door's open, it could have blew that. I don't mind stuff like that, but then you've got some of the team members that go around saying, well, no, actually, there's a little hole in the corner of the window there that would have blown
Yeah.
that ball, and I'm like, come on, man, let us have our moment. Let's look back at this evidence later, and we can
Yeah.
debunk it then. I
Yeah.
think,
I mean,
especially if you're in a group, it just ruins the mood.
there's been little things where like and I've been on investigations where we'll say a good example would be Wildwood Sanitarium, and I was there, and they have a pendulum set up, and it was moving, and I was like, okay, well that's pretty cool. So I did a couple walk bys to make sure it wasn't actually when people were walking past,
Yeah,
and when I walked close to it, it didn't move at all. I stepped back about 3 or 4 feet and walked further away from it, and it started bouncing and started swinging. Yeah, I know I was the downer on it, but I was, you can't help but you're like, well, it's moving when I'm walking. So,
yeah, I'm
I
sure of
can't
that.
really count that as evidence. I'm sorry, guys, but I'm actively witnessing
I
that
think
it's
I think there's a
moving.
difference. I think if something like that, you can 100% prove it there and then in the moment. Fair
Yeah.
enough. But if it's speculation,
All
then I think
speculation,
just
you got to you got to do the
yeah,
review. You got to look at that later.
yeah, you leave it there. What else am I going to bring up? So I've been to America twice. It's the only place I've been to outside of England. I've done Villisca House, McIntyre Villa, Asher Walton House. Was going to do the Sally House, but that was close to the season. I want to do Alcatraz. My brother's been there.
Alcatraz is
Uh,
definitely on my bucket list.
I think my brother's been a few times. But where would you recommend, like the like a big named location? Let's say that I might have seen on TV. I want to do Waverly Hills, definitely, but I'm
Yeah,
probably never. But I'd love to do that.
yeah. The Ohio State Reformatory is on my bucket list. That's definitely one that you got to
Yeah,
check out. If you were ever to come back to the States, Ohio State Reformatory is one you've got to check out.
definitely. It does ring a bell. Someone did mention that to me before, actually.
I'm actually planning that one here pretty soon. I'm just trying to get the team together to do it.
Yeah. You think you got any plans in the future to come to England at all?
Me and the wife were actually talking about trying to get there next year.
Huh? No.
Yep, we were talking about trying to get there next year. I did talk about trying to link up with a couple of you guys out that way and having you take me around and maybe catching up with a couple, getting a couple places in while I'm there. So
There's a
that's on the
there's a
list.
lot there's a lot of like within 5 miles of where I live.
Oh,
We got
geez.
Dudley Castle. That's 5 minutes up the road. Um, Station Hotel, Talbot Hotel. They're like really haunted locations. I've done videos on them on my YouTube as well. Again, 5 minutes each way. Black Country Living Museum. It's like a city where all the old buildings from like 60, 70 years ago, they've taken brick by brick and built again. And so
Oh,
you're walking around like how it was back then, where the
yeah.
Peaky Blinders were filmed. They filmed it
Oh,
all
that's
around
cool.
there. So yeah, it's a great place, man.
That would definitely be
Really
cool.
enjoy
Yeah,
that.
like I said, I plan on me and the wife have been talking about planning on getting there next year. So that's definitely in the works.
Yeah,
Um, all depends on health related things and how that pans out, because unfortunately the health stuff that I deal with is a chronic condition that just never goes away. But we are definitely planning on getting there. I'll make it happen.
It's the flights that like cost the most. It's not too expensive like to be here really at all.
Yeah, that's really the biggest thing for even with us. I mean, it's just the cost of everything to investigate has gotten so out of hand. It's hard to find anywhere that wants to lunch it investigate for less than $1,000 for a group of 10.
Yeah. There's loads of like paranormal event teams over here, which you'll always be able to get something. Might be like £30 each for a ticket, but you'll be in like a group of 10 of them, and you might have
Yeah,
6 or 7 hours there. Which is worth it to see some of the venues that you're probably never going to see again if
yeah,
you come as a tourist to see them.
yeah. Definitely want to get over there and hook up with a couple of you guys that I've met through
Yeah.
this platform and get some investigating in. Like I said, next year's the goal right now.
If you're around my area, there's a room you can crash in, man. Yeah, don't worry about hotels and nothing. So
Appreciate that.
Cool.
Appreciate that.
I was going to say something then, it's gone out of my head. Can't think what I was going to say. But just before we wrap up, Roger, if someone's listening and they think they've had a paranormal experience, what would you tell them? Would you advise them to go ahead and investigate it, or would you say leave it alone? Obviously, from someone that's not an investigator, some things can become dangerous. What do you
Some things
recommend?
can become dangerous. I always say protect yourself first and foremost with whichever way you do it. The religious, they'll pray for protection. Spiritual, a lot of times they'll burn sage, or a lot of different protection methods out there. So whatever fits your notion, just protect yourself. And I would say, if it does pique your curiosity, go investigate it. Because we're all looking for answers. Nobody is a professional in this field. Nobody's an expert. Nobody has all the answers. So if it did pique your curiosity, if it is something that if you're not terrified to go do it,
Yeah.
peek your head in there, man. Take a look.
And you don't
You
need
might
all this equipment, just your eyes, your ears. Get your phone out, record everything. What you don't hear in person, play that back. You'll probably hear something.
absolutely. I'll
Yeah.
tell you, I have thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of equipment. I mean, I have totes that are as tall as me in equipment.
Yeah, I've
Also,
seen them.
yeah. So I have thousands and thousands of dollars worth of equipment. And to be honest with you, when I go on investigations, I usually take out three pieces: my body cam, my mini DVR camera, and my audio recorder.
Yeah, that's what you need, really.
I take some of the other stuff out to play with it, and if other people are investigating with me, or if I got my kids with me, I let them take whatever they want and play with it or whatever. But for me, my three primary sources are my recorder, my DVR cam, and my body cam. That's essentially what I use.
No, I think that's all you really need. So the last thing I want to ask really is, do you think we'll ever actually prove the paranormal, or is it always going to be like a reach out?
The way science is moving forward, and we're kind of starting to see that we're able to prove different quantums and different realities and different energies. I think that we'll be able to experience that there are different levels of energy. However, I think, and this is kind of a more of a conspiracy lined thing than anything else, I think we'll be in line for another reset before we actually come up with the technology to experience those otherworldly things. And if I'm big in like history and things like that, and I like to study weird stuff like the Anunnaki and stuff like that. And they had those technologies before it was reset, and I think that's essentially what we're going to do, because if you look at a lot of inventions from history, they were actually more advanced and more practical than what we're using now. So I think we've moved backwards a lot. So I don't think
That's just the remains, like that. Where's discovering the remains of what once was.
So I don't think we'll ever be able to fully prove the existence of say we'll just say ghosts per se. I do think we'll be able to prove at some point that there is existential evidence that there are other energies that we just don't have the ability to consciously see.
Yeah. Or like another world, another dimension.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. The universe itself is like, you can just talk about it forever, can't you? Because where's it end? Something's got to have an end. There's got to be. There's an end to everything.
Yeah.
But no one's ever been able to prove there's an end to the universe.
Yeah. And for
But
me, so somebody like me, I'm the type of person that believes that we're just more of like a minuscule cell or a molecule in something greater.
mhm.
You know, if you think about it, like look at ants, you know, they have a purpose, but in their world, they're say their ant hill is their whole entire world, and they go in and they live their whole world through there, and we're the existential beings to them, because we're bigger than their world or whatever, however you want to see it. We're just essentially the same thing in a bigger cog in the universe, just a microcosmic cell, essentially, an atom.
That's why I don't like people like dismissing everything, because nobody knows anything. Nobody knows if God truly does exist. Or you should
Right.
believe in whatever you want to believe in, but nobody knows that. Nobody knows if there's more human beings on different planets. It's, for all we know, we could just be the spirits that we're picking up and capturing evidence of. That could really be happening, just in another world. Or
Yeah.
we could be the ghosts. They could be seeing the same thing as what we catching. They might be hunting us. You know what I mean? I don't know.
It
I
could
can
just be
talk about so much shit over and over and over, but
it could just be a blip in the interdimensional twist. You know, we could just have
yeah,
a small opening and catching bits and pieces of another dimension. We could actually be talking. You know, it's possible that we could be talking to ourselves from another dimension. Um,
mhm.
you know, and that's where I really get into all this stuff and interdimensional stuff and all these different planes and how the world operates, and even just dimensional shift that we've seen with the Mandela effect. I'm really intrigued by that stuff in the energy. So I don't think we're necessarily the only dimension that exists.
No,
Um,
it's
there's
impossible.
definitely,
I'd say that's impossible, just because of how big everything is.
yeah, I would say there's infinite dimensions and just different planes. And I really do think the Mandela effect is just a shift in timelines, essentially.
Yeah, we could sit here all day talking, Roger. But
Oh,
is there
absolutely.
anything you want to say before we wrap up? Anything you want to push out, or
Well, so my biggest thing is just be authentically you. The paranormal is for everybody, and it is something that uh, there are no experts in. If you feel inclined, if you feel compelled to go investigate or experience something that you're not sure of, um, just go out and do it, experience it, enjoy life. It's short. There are things that we don't know. There are things that we've never experienced. So don't cut yourself short. Don't sell yourself short. Go experience life to the fullest.
yeah,
It's great to finally get on here with you. This has been a long time coming. It's been months and months and months in the works, and
yeah,
I hope that we can get that future project off here real soon. I know we've been
yeah?
talking on the side about that. So you guys look
Mm.
forward to that. That's going to be fun.
Well, I
And
also said to you, I was going to bring it up and talk about it, but I think we should discuss it a bit more first, and then let's try and get one thing, like number
yeah,
one done first. And
yep, it's in the foundation stages. So it's going to be a minute, guys. But working on some stuff. Other than that, just try to be good to each other. All this extra drama, all this extra unnecessary stuff, it's what's it really for? It really doesn't change the aspect of anything. It doesn't change how anybody
yeah,
feels about anything. Um, it's a lot easier to just be happy within yourself than to be exhausted and be angry at everybody else. I think that's something that we need to promote more is just the aspect of be happy within yourself and let other people just do what they're going to do.
Yeah, man, and just
If
stay
you,
calm and stuff like. Yeah,
if you get
shouting
excited
at
over,
someone else and calling someone else names and all that. It's not
if
going
you,
to change the outcome.
yeah,
Just talk to them.
if you keep getting excited over everybody who makes a negative comment on
Yeah.
your content or you're going to be focused more on protecting your image than your work. So protect your work, not your image. The ones who understand what you're doing will stick by you through and through.
And on that note, Roger, thank you for joining us. And yeah, drop your links in the comments when it's up tomorrow if you can do anything you want to push out.
I definitely will.
And hopefully we see more from your YouTube over the next year or so.
It's in the works. We're gonna get some more stuff up here real soon.
Awesome. Well, we'll catch you soon, then, Roger. And thank you again.
All right, man. Hey, it's been a pleasure. Finally made it happen.
Finally. And also, anyone listening on Spotify and YouTube, next week there won't be a video posted because I am on an investigation. So the following week we'll have a video from that. Yeah, thanks again, Roger, and we'll catch you soon.
Good luck and happy haunting.
And you take care.